What is up, side hustlers, entrepreneurs, business builders, and dream makers? Welcome to the Study Your Side Hustle podcast, episode 108. Today, I want to talk to you about a psychological mental framework that I've found is very helpful in overcoming procrastination. So with that being said, let's get into it. Tell me if you've ever experienced this. If you've ever had a day or an hour or a week or a month of, I know that I need to get things done. I know that I need to get off the couch, get off the chair, get out of bed, get off my phone, and go do stuff. And knowing that, I'm very mad at myself, and I'm very frustrated that I'm not getting up, but I'm also not getting up. I'm just scrolling on my phone. I'm just watching TV. I'm just on YouTube. I'm just on Netflix, and I'm not getting anything done. And in fact, the more time that goes by, the more upset I am with myself, the more emotionally low I feel, and the less likely I feel like it is that I'm going to do anything. You ever felt like that? Ever had that experience? Well, last year, I've been very vocal about this. If you don't know me, if you're new to the channel, my name is Devin Tracy. I run a business called Windfall Elite. We're a marketing agency, and I do a lot of coaching for businesses as well. And last year, I was very open and transparent about the reality that I was going through therapy, that I had, I took a depression scale test, and I had been diagnosed with, or not diagnosed, but the depression scale test said that I had moderate depression. And so I was in therapy for 6 months, and actually to give it a little bit more of the background, I was in therapy for 6 months. The week after I graduated therapy, my grandfather passed away, and then less than a month after that, my sister passed away. And so 2023 was by far the hardest year of my life. So I experienced this a lot, and that's why I wanted to make a video about it. This is probably not going to be a very long episode, but for me, there's a lot of frameworks that I've found and that I've developed and that I've discovered over the past year. A lot of them are in the realms of cognitive behavioral therapy that are just really, really helpful. And today I want to share one with you that in this particular use case, I've found to be more helpful than anything else. Caveat, this is my experience. I'm not claiming to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor, or to have any background to be giving this type of advice to anybody. All that I'm saying is that this is what I found to be useful for me. And if it happens to be useful for you, then I'm happy to have made this video. And if it's not useful for you, then just don't use it. When I'm not able to get myself to do what I'm trying to do, there is some task that I know I need to get done, that regardless of what the task is, for some reason, that thing is the thing that's intimidating me. That's the thing that I know I need to do that I don't want to do. Sometimes this is in business. Sometimes this is, I need to go make cold DMs, or I need to go respond to all of my client tickets, or I need to go let a client go, or I need to do something that involves other people that is hard and scary. And other times it is like trivial, in my own opinion. Like it's things like, I need to do the dishes, but I don't want to do the dishes. So instead of doing the dishes, I'm gonna sit here and doom scroll. That's what I call it when you're just scrolling on social media for hours. That's doom scrolling. I got stuck doom scrolling yesterday, which is what inspired me to make this video today. So what I found is that there's almost always a task that is really the intimidating task. It's debilitating and stopping me from doing anything. And so what I do is I will identify that task, just like I know, you know what it is. You don't even have to ask yourself, what is it? You know the thing that you think you should be doing. And then instead of trying to muster up the strength to do that task, or the mental fortitude, whatever it is, what I do is I follow something that in economics is known as the Matthew Principle. The Matthew Principle is also just the first way that it was vocalized. It's an understanding of the Pareto distribution, which I've talked about before on the show, and it is also, it applies to everything. Like that's the problem with it. It applies to everything. So what it technically is that the majority of all outputs come from the square root of all inputs. And so in a company, what that would mean is if you have a company with 10 employees, then 3 of them are doing more than half the work. And if you have a company of 100 employees, square root of 100 is 10, 10 employees are doing more than half the work. And if you have a company of 10,000 employees, then 100 employees are doing more than half the work. But it maps to everything. Like the square root of the number of artists in the world are the number of artists who are making half the money. The square root of the number of businesses in the world are the number of businesses that are making half the money. You can do this with fame, you can do it with finances. The square root of all the stars in the universe are the number of stars that make up half the mass of the universe. Like, it maps to everything for some reason. And the way that I like to simplify it and to apply it to life that makes it practical for what I'm talking about right now is wins stack up, but so do losses. And that's why it's called the Matthew principle. The Matthew principle comes from a verse in Matthew from the Bible where Christ says that to he who has more will be given, to he who has not, even what he has will be taken from him. And what that translates to in economics, it's understood very well, is it's like losses stack up. Like it is so much harder to go from homeless to minimum wage than it is to go from minimum wage to $30 an hour. Like, it is significantly easier each step along the way. That's what the Matthew principle shows. It shows it in economics. It's just Pareto distribution. It's just the Pareto distribution in a different context. But the way that I simplify it, that makes it very easy to understand and makes it very useful and practical in my life, is that wins stack up and so do losses. What do I mean by that? Every time you tell yourself, I need to get up, and don't, that's a loss. And that's why your mental state is getting worse. And you're getting more sunken in, and you're feeling more and more this presence of despair because your losses are stacking up. Wins stack up too. So what does that mean? When you win, it's easier to win again. So what you need to do when you are in this negative slide of losses stacking up and things are getting worse is you need to change the direction. And so how do I do that? Well, where there's this big daunting thing that I need to get done, and I'm procrastinating, and I'm doom scrolling, and I'm avoiding, and my losses are stacking up, and my mental fortitude is decaying, and my mental state is getting worse, I pick something else to do that's productive. And this is not productive procrastination, because I don't pick that thing to do instead of this thing. I pick that thing to do first. So, I need to have this hard conversation. Okay, well, what I'm going to do first, because that's a hard, scary conversation and I'm avoiding it and I've caught myself doom scrolling, is instead, I'm going to go ahead and do the dishes or do the laundry. I'm going to pick something that I cannot lose at because it is that well-defined and that easy of a task. Doing the dishes is well-defined and easy. You're done once all the dishes are either in the dishwasher or all the dishes are put away. Clear, defined, impossible to lose at. But it's productive, which means I am being productive. It's a win. Wins stack up. So go do something productive first, and then circle back to the thing that you've been avoiding. And now you're attacking it with wins, which stack up, instead of losses, which stack up. That way you're in a better mental state and you're prepared to win again. This might just sound like pie in the sky theory, but in my life, it has been so helpful. And so my advice for you is next time you find yourself doom scrolling and not doing what you're trying to do and procrastinating, getting mad at yourself, is try it. And if it serves you the way it served me, that's amazing. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Let me know how that goes for you. I love you so much. I'll be back in your buds again very soon. God bless.